Okay, this week it's time to get into one of the supplements I haven't gotten to yet. It's the multivitamin. So, an article I'm going to be putting in the comments, like usual, is from the John Hopkins Medicines.org. So, it pretty much states it looked at like research and everything and said, is it like a good idea? Like, does it help prevent like heart disease? Does it help prevent like this disease? Does it help prevent this? And it's like they're looking at the data with through this article through like John Hopkins Medicine. So it's like hopkinsmedicines.org. So they're looking at it and they're kind of saying like, yeah, it really doesn't help with the preventing all these diseases and everything. So, and they're stating like that you want to get your micronutrients from food, and so obviously that's always the ideal way to get your nutrients, your macronutrients of your protein, fat, and carbohydrates, and your micronutrients of all the vitamins and minerals. So like your vitamins like the B vitamins, C, D, E, and K, plus like all the minerals. Some like include like zinc, copper, iron, magnesium, potassium, uh, sodium, like pretty much like the micronutrients that you need and everything. So now the concept behind taking a multivitamin is to act as kind of like an insurance policy, because if you look at like all the different nutritional approaches, like the spectrum, like you got on one end completely animal based with carnivore, and the other end with the completely plant based with vegan, and plus like everything in between. Like there's pescatarian, vegetarian, there's paleo, there's keto, there's the Mediterranean. Now, is every single approach like is there a one best approach, or like no? Do all of them work? Yes. Now the thing is, like big thing is, what you have to find is which approach works best for you. Like what can you stick with for like long term? Like for instance, keto. Like keto. Like there's people that'll say that keto is the best thing on earth, and like you have to find this like the high the high fat, moderate protein, and low carb diet. Oh, it's going to be perfect and everything, and everyone needs to follow this. And like, here's the research, and like, well, if you're someone who really can't do that, like for someone like me who like actually likes eating things like berries and apples and stuff like that, my carbohydrate intake would be too high to be able to maintain the keto approach and everything. So for someone like me, I wouldn't be able to maintain keto. So it's just like, why am I going to stick with something that isn't going to be able to work for me long term? So it's like, for instance, like with me, I find that like a paleo type approach, like I primarily eat meat, fruits, and like a dairy. So that tends to be my approach. Now, does that mean I'm going to be like this is the only way? No, this is the way that works for me. Now, of course, I'm also open to like, okay, well, this is my good foundation, and I start sitting here testing other things like, okay, well, will this work? How does this work and everything? So you have to be kind of open to like new approaches too. So you can't just sit here and be dead fast in your way and everything and be like, well, I figured it out. End of story. We're good to go. I can do this like forever. So now, like for instance, with like I said, with me with the paleo approach, yeah, it works for me, but I'm also like always like looking towards making those minor like tweaks and adjustments every like maybe like a couple weeks or so to see like, okay, well, let me try this and everything, and see how like that this works and everything. So you have to be kind of open to like new approaches to your nutrition, because you have to be adaptable in the sense that what approach works for you now might not necessarily work for you like 5-10 years from now. But if you have that foundation of like, okay, this is my approach, it's working for me now, and you have that adaptability, then you can like as things come up, you can be like pivot instead of like trying to like get to the point where like fitting that uh, round peg in a square hole or something. So you have to be open to like being able to adapt as well. So now where supplementation comes in handy, and like where it helps tremendously, especially when it comes to a multivitamin, is it's acts as like an insurance policy. So like for instance, with my approach, I've noticed that I tend to be a little like low on my iron intake. So I do take a multivitamin, and I do take an iron supplement a couple times a week and everything. and so that seems to be helps. So this is the whole concept of taking a multivitamin, kind of look at it like a insurance policy. Like okay, well, I might be getting most, like if not all, my nutrients from food and everything. I take a multivitamin like as like, okay, well, in case I have any holes or whatever. So like, it's like the same concept with like the other the supplements I've gone over, like the fish oil, the joint supplement, collagen protein. So look at like the big thing with supplementation is that, hey, look, this is helping me supplement my food intake, and it helps me cover any deficiencies I might have and everything. So like a common deficiency, of course, is vitamin D, and of course those are good supplements that you can take as well. I'll probably be getting into like a couple weeks because I'm going to be doing my review of Torch program next week. So I'll have to kind of like skip a week with the supplements and everything. But like again with the multivitamins, even though it doesn't look like the John Hopkins article, it doesn't look like it's stating that like it's like, yeah, this really wouldn't help much with preventing diseases and everything. But the first and foremost thing is like you have to have your nutrition in check. And the second thing is you have to have an active lifestyle. So like you can't like what I'm doing right here, being seated all day and everything. That's like kind of like the antithesis of what it's to be the human. We're supposed to be active, and so like and if we have an active lifestyle and our nutrition is in check, again, like this supplementation, like I said, is kind of like an insurance policy, especially with the multivitamin. So like ideally, yes, you want to get like all your nutrients from food and everything. So, but of course, like I said, with any nutritional approach, not everyone can follow every single same path and everything. So like that's why there's so many different nutritional paths and everything. So or ways you can eat and everything. So what you want to do is like when you're looking at supplements, especially like the stuff I go over with these videos, is like, okay, my nutrition is in check. Where do I like see any like deficiencies in my micronutrients or macronutrients? So like for instance last week with the protein powder, okay, those are good for helping increase like the macronutrient of protein. Here with the multivitamin, it kind of like helps you get like and make sure like you get those like like all the vitamins and minerals that you need. So like I'll pick on vegan for instance. Like one of the common deficiencies in a vegan approach is like you're going to be deficient in vitamin B12. So like you could take a multivitamin, or you could like, well, all my other micronutrients are good, so I'm going to take a B complex, B vitamin complex instead, because all my other micronutrients are good. So except for my B vitamins, and of course it could on the flip side, the carnivore, like you might see like, oh, my potassium intake is low. So this is where like okay, I'll start supplementing with like a potassium intake and everything. So this is the whole idea of supplementation. It's supplemental in that like and of course like the study said, it's not going to fix like any diseases and everything, but you have to do something like this in conjunction with, like I said, an active lifestyle and proper nutrition. So like of course like with the nutrition methods I've like mentioned, like the different paths, you could sit here like, well, hey, look, I can stick with the ding dong and donut diet and everything. Well, that's not like actual healthy food or anything. And of course stuff like the ding dongs and donuts, they're not actual food, they're pretty much garbage and everything. So like, you're eating garbage, you're not actually eating food and everything. So for, like I said, first and foremost, what you want to do is make sure that your nutrition is in check before you start using supplementation, because supplementation isn't going to fix a shitty nutritional approach and everything, like the good old ding dong and donut diet I just mentioned. Supplementation isn't going to fix that and everything. And it's the same thing like with being active. You can't outwork a shitty diet and everything. So this is why nutrition is so important, because it's the hardest thing to get right and the easiest thing to screw up and everything. So that's why you want to have that nutrition in check. And then once you get that, you look at your supplementation. Like, okay, I take like for me, I still take a multivitamin. I use it as, like I said, an insurance policy to make sure that I know I'm getting in micronutrients that I need, because I know with my nutritional approach of like the path I follow, I know I'm getting enough of the macronutrients. So, and like I said, I have found in that I tend to be a little low in iron, so like, okay, I supplement with that and everything. So that's the key point of supplementation, is to cover, in a sense, like cover your bases, making sure you get enough. So this is the whole concept of like a multivitamin, an insurance policy. Even though supplementation isn't required, because you can get your stuff from food, which is always ideal. Again, I'll end by reiterating that supplementation, especially with a multivitamin, is just an insurance policy to help ensure that you get enough of the micronutrients that you need